We are moving on in this dense AnimatekaPRO program. Sorry to make you, to push you a little bit, and I knew that this will happen, that we will be late. Fortunately, before 3 o'clock, there is no important screening. Actually, at 5 o'clock, we have a very important screening that I would like to remind you. At the Slovenian Cinematheque, we will screen The Son of White Mare by Marcel Jankovic on 35mm print. And this is just maybe to go back in time, back in history, and go to the future too. And go to the future as well. Jean-Baptiste Garnero is a very important person working in behind the scenes. Like, he's an archivist, he's an animation film historian, and the vaults of the Centre National de Cinématographie, Bois d'Orsay near Paris, is full of gems. And we are really happy as festivals to have such a person that can provide the stop access to, this is the archivist word, providing access to the archive. But thank you, Jean-Baptiste, that you brought us a very special presentation, and I let you the floor to introduce.
Thank you, Igor. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you, Animateka. Also, all the crews. Yeah, welcome. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to talk about a pin screen, CNC pin screens. I'm sure that the main people here knows what about I'm talking. No? We've never known or heard about a pin screen, CNC pin screen, Alexeïeff pin screen. No. Well, so yeah, let's start. It will be in two parts, a patrimonial one and another reassert one. I will tell you more soon. Just let's start with this sentence from a girl who you're going to meet soon, called Justine Wilsteker. It's talking about her own feeling about his met with a pin screen, and in fact, it's almost all the same feeling that with people who were involved in a way or in manners, another way, with a pin screen, includes my colleague and I. So this invention has been created by two persons, Alexeïeff, Alexandre Alexeïeff and Claire Parker. Alexandre Alexeïeff was Russian, and he came to France to become an illustrator, a book illustrator with wood engravings first, and then after he developed his own techniques with of engraving and with acid, you know, and other many things. He was quite famous in France in the 20s with an art book. And he met Claire Parker. She was an American girl from Brooklyn, and near Boston. And she came to France to study and asked Alexeïeff to train her as an illustrator. And in fact, they spent 50 years together to make film. So you have here some photos of them at different moments of their life. Here in the United States, here also in the United States. And those photos here, it was in Paris, a little bit late in their life. So the main thing is to present how this pin screen works. Just to remind you that in the 30s, cinemas became with the sound, and Alexeïeff got bored somewhere to make his illustration in the book and wanted to move to the cinema with his engraving techniques. So they think about it, and oops, sorry. Shit. No, I never need, I haven't got, don't need internet. Come on. So, restart, sorry. And so this silly little film is just to show you what happened and what have they done in the first year. So it wasn't so easy to transpose, you know, engravings to cinema, of course. So the technique is going to be explained to you, but we are in the Alexeïeff Parker studio in Paris, in front of one of the biggest pink screen made by them in United States in the 40s, because they moved there during the Second World War, and they have to rebuild a new pink screen. This pink screen is now at Musée du Cinéma at Cinémathèque Française, but it's owned by CNC. Here you have the grid and the schema of a close-up, kind of close-up, you know, of pin screen shadows process. Here you have the close-up with on the pin screen. So it's not the pins who are making the image. This is the shadows of each pins on the white surface of this grid, you know, who was creating the image. So you can use some tools, of course, but you can also use some cutted papers, you know, and push it on the pin screen to have a draw and win time in animation, you know. So Claire Parker was on the side, Alexeïeff was on the other side, and here on this document, in fact, they are working on a poster for Annecy Film Festival. And here we have a time lapse of what they've done for the National Film Board when they were in New York between 1943 and 1944. And they put beside the 35mm camera, 16mm camera, and you have the work of months and weeks, you know, in front of your eyes, and a little bit more even, because some shots are not in the film, of course, and sometimes you can see on your right, Alexeïeff appears a little bit. You're going to see the screen moving here to make a panel, you know. And if you don't know this film, I invite you to see it on the National Film Board website. It's an illustration of a music, traditional music thing, Canadian. Québécois, sorry. So, here we are. We have a picture of some part of the studio of Alexeïeff and Claire Parker, and especially the last pin screen made by Alexeïeff Parker. They made many pin screens during their career. One in the 30s, another in the 40s. And after they changed their technique of building in the 60s with new material, and they made a prototype, and they sell a first pin screen, a very small pin screen of 10,000 pins to the National Film Board in the 60s, and at the end, 10 years after, they sold another one that everyone knows today, because this is the National Film Board pin screen, were used by Jacques Drouin and now Michel Lemieux. But to replace the ones that sold to the National Film Board, they made one in the 70s, in 1977, and this is you can see it here in the studio. Alexeïeff and Claire Parker gave to the CNC from the 70s until their death, and even after, through Alexeïeff's daughter, many things, items, films, archives, in different manners. And here we are in December 1982. Alexeïeff died in August 1982. And CNC Alexeïeff have signed a contract, and at the end of Alexeïeff, since he could get a lot of things from their studio sitting in Paris, in south of Paris, Avenue Jean Moulin. So this is one of the photos that before to move everything in the studio. However, Svetlana, Alexeïeff's daughter, kept the last pinscreen for her, and it was in the deal. It's not a problem, you know. Here you can see them working on the studio. It was a quite small place, but enough to make films and many other things, adverts, etc., etc. And just to give you an idea that we collect many things, sketchbooks, storyboards, strange items like this slide with a mention, a special mentions called, if I translate, this is alive and used, done. She has done the nose, and the nose is one of the films made by Alexeïeff and Claire Parker in the 60s from the Russian novel. And Alexeïeff and Claire Parker wrote and put documentation on their work a lot. And in fact, this collection is cover many things. We have over 19,000 documents in paper, 5,000 photos, items like statues or objects like this, tools. I don't know if you believe in something, but with this kind of tools, I can make you believe in everything, because it's close to tools from Middle Age and Inquisition, you know. And it was just to animate on the pin screen. But, you know, so we have very a lot of things. And it took time for us to organize all these things. So when we've done this work, it took us many years because we are just two persons to do that, and we couldn't be at 100% on this. So, but time after time, weeks after weeks, and months after months, we just realized that we have enough things to make an exhibition. And that what we've done in 2015 in Annecy, Musée Château, maybe some of you maybe seen it. And so this is what we've done with some pin screens, of course, some documents about research about each Alexeïeff Parker films, new chronology, because we have all their life, even their account books, their taxes, their everything about the administration, you know, with no relation with their film, but just their life. So, you know, we know many things about them, so we can make a new chronology about their movement between countries, what they've done in the 20s, etc., etc., etc. So it was a great exhibition, and here this is adverts part with on the table the original storyboards, and on the walls the adverts, and we also make a book about it, a new book, because 15 years, almost 20 years ago, for the 100 years of the birth of Alexeïeff, a book have been done, but without all the materials that we have at CNC. So, so we repeat this exhibition in another place in France. Here is in Valence, you know, where there are the Folimage Studio and also Poudrière School. So it was a good place to make this in this city. So it was in a place dedicated to the image and cinema called Lux. And then we also made an exhibition still in France at Manufacture Bohain. And Bohain is quite famous in France and maybe in foreign countries because Bohain made pins, you know, and all stuff, you know, to, I forgot the name in English, but needles and other stuff like that. And in fact, Alexeïeff and Claire Parker bought their pins for the pin screen for the first one made in 1932, and some others in Bohain. And Bohain still exists, so it was just quite fun to bring back the pin screens there and make an exhibition. And Bohain lose many archives of from their factory, you know, and we show them the bills and the orders of the pins, you know, and so we offer them a scan of this for their own archive. So it was quite fun. So this is the main part of for the patrimonial part. This exhibition is available if someone's interesting. You know, we are very ready to show it in certain condition because it's a you know, it's a real object, so we can't show it outside even a museum, but you know, we can arrange that and discuss about that. It's not a problem. Now we're just back in time, and especially in 2010, because in 2010, Svetlana, here in the center of the photo, sent a large call on the net, and she said, well, I'm getting old, it's true, and I don't want to leave my pin screen to my children because it's too hard to take care, and I want to sell it. And the call was sent to all over the world, so to Chinese school, Korean school, American school, many places of arts, and she wanted to sell it. And Sophie and I were about a little bit in panic because this pin screen was made in France. The invention was created and made in France, and we thought it was very, very important to keep it because not because for that an animation studio buy it. It's not the point. Just because we were afraid that a private collection buy it and this pin screen disappear forever. You know, it's sometimes happened. So we start our discussion with Svetlana, and especially with the help of the National Film Board, Jacques and Michel, to convince her that the CNC is only the one administration identity stuff to buy it for the unique reason that except for art collectioner, you know, no one, especially a production studio, can't buy it. So we finally find a deal, and in 2012 she came to Paris, and we signed the deal, buy it. So we were quite happy. But this pin screen have been first restored in 2008 by Jacques Drouin. We came first in France to repair and restore all the pin screens that CNC get, included the spinet, but it needs to be fixed again because it's getting old, and if you don't use this kind of instrument, it's a little bit like a music instrument. It's not going better and better if you don't use it, so it needs to be used. So this is pin screen called l'épinette or spinet. So this is Michel. So we asked Michel to come twice in Bois d'Arcy to fix this screen. The condition for the CNC that to buy it is of course that it could be able to make some films, because we didn't have other pin screen for museum use. We have enough, so it was only this condition, and it works well. And so we asked to Michel to come to clean it, to replace some pins, some stuff, and especially to train us to the use of the pin screen. So this is my colleague Sophie, and here Michel is just teach her how to clean the white surface with the tubes. She show us how to replace the tube, because in fact it's a new model of the pin screen are thousand and thousand tubes put together under pressure, and that's it. So it's a quite strange machine, because in fact you can break it if you don't use it in the proper way. So we know now how to replace tubes, replace pins, detect if this big baby of 60 kilos is fine or not, And so we take care of it. We are the both curator of the pin screen in France now. And this is the first image that Michel's done on the pin screen 40 years after, almost after the death of Alexeïeff. So it was quite emotional, just as a test, So it was quite great. So after this restoration, and simultaneously with the exhibition in Annecy, we decided to make a call. So late 2014, we made a call to in France for film directors, artists who wanted to be trained by Michel Lemieux in June. In Annecy for 3 days, and we tried to make a very, very large call because in fact it was open to everyone, included foreign people who are living in France, of course, and from film director who've made only one film, gradation film included, until very experimented people, but still in the animation work. So we have selected 8 people for this workshop, and you can see here. So Justine Wulstecker, she was one of the youngest person selected. Florence Miaille, that everyone knows, I think. Pierre-Luc Grandjean. Nicolas Ligori, Florentine Grelier, Clémence Bouchereau, you have here Michel, of course, Cerise Lopez, and Céline Deveau. And so we spent 3 days. CNC organized this in Annecy with the support of Michel, and Michel explained for the first day it was a masterclass, kind of masterclass, a theoretic part, and the 2 other days it was for to practice. So at the end of the first day, and to prepare the 2 other days, all the artists came and just tried to work a little bit in a part of the pin screen, just to taste it, because they never touched it before. So it was a quite fun moment. And here again, the Nicolas testing with different tools, you know. And the second day, we decided to make a cadaver exquis. And there were 8, so we said to each of them, you have 2 hours to make an image, to make something on the pin screen and start animation. And the one after have to follow the previous image and create another one, etc., etc. So it was quite a challenge, but it was a good test for 2 reasons. First, to see if the people were able to create an image and make an animation on the pin screen. And 2, they were under pressure. So just to test them also in this case. So, and going to show you. So we use traditional, stuff. So you're going to see the results. So you have 8 people. So Pierre Le Grandjean, Clémence Bouchereau, Céline Deveau. After, I think it's Cerise Lopez, Florence Miaille, Florentine Grelier, and I forgot some ones, but yeah. So everyone was happy at the end, and everyone make a little image on the pin screen for the memory. That we expected with workshop was to find 1, maybe 2 artists able to work on it. Unfortunately for us, they all love the pin screen, so we haven't got now 1 or 2 artists, but 8 people able and ready to make films in France. So we are very, 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 very happy for this result. So, and they were also very frustrated because they just spent 2 hours and a few minutes more to work on it. So it wasn't enough for them. So in September of 2015, we make a meeting at CNC in Paris, and we tell them that we were ready to let them work on the pin screen during 1 month residence time. So they organize their time as they want. They come when they want. We won't pay them because we couldn't pay them for this, but we just offer the possibility to have a studio in Boissy in CNC, and so we get a computer with Dragon Frame, we get a Canon, and all the good condition to make tests, animation. So the first person who came was Florence, because she was still available. She was already working on the feature film, but she spent 1 month, and after we had Cerise who came twice, to 2 weeks and 2 weeks. etc., etc. And here you are, I have to cut the sound because it's not cleared. But you have here the test of Florence. And it's very, 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 very nice. As you maybe know, that Florence is a well-experimented film director, and she can animate very quick. So that's why it's you have a lot of image, and she spent 1 month straight, so she had a good rhythm. Yeah, super experience. Sorry. Yeah. You don't know the animation of. Okay. Yeah, she started in animation since almost 30 years now, and yeah, it's a animating paintings on glass. So now we have another from Cerise Lopez.
Ooh, yeah.
Another one from Pierre-Luc Grandjean. So everyone came and production start. And the first people, the first person who asked us the pin screen was Céline Deveau, because she wanted to use it in her new film called Gros Chagrin, which was a film in live action, in fact, shot in 16 millimeters with some parts of animation, with a traditional animation as acrylic, you know, and on cells. And she put inside this film some animation made with a pin screen. This film works very well in an international festival. It's not considered as an animation film, but it traveled a lot. Justin Wülstecker came also right after Florence, in fact, in Bois-d'Arcy, and she made a lot of tests without any specific idea in mind. But the last day of his residence, she found, in a way, in the pin screen, this head, this man, and she kept it in mind, of course, and she finally made a film. So here is just a few images made by Brice Vincent, who is working on a film director, working on a project of documentary about the pin screen in France. And you can see Justine working on it. Could we switch off a little bit the light, please? We collect a lot of tools, strange tools, in flea market or, you know, stuff like that. And now you're going to see the test. So the good news for her is that she found a producer in France, and a very quick time, in fact, and called Offshore Production. And she had a residency at Cinematheques Québécoises, because since 3 years now, Cinematheques Québécoises invite people to come 1 month to work on the film project. And Justine was the first person from France to go there, and she found is a production with Offshore, and she had also help from Cyclic Animation in Vendôme, and Jacques Douin came in France during May 2017. So we said to Jacques, okay, we bring you, we take with us to Vendôme. We didn't say anything to Justine, of course. And so it was a huge surprise. And so they spent an afternoon together, we spent an afternoon all together. She showed us many things. We spoke about screen screens, animation, everything. So, and here you have the trailer of the film. So it was a real challenge for her because it was a first film in pinscreen, and she didn't have so much time. In fact, she had just 6 months for the shooting, and after 1 month or 6 weeks for the post-production at the National Film Board, because it's a co-production with them, and so she made a great job, and the film have been seen several times in festival. Here, another example of what we can do on the pin screen. Of course, if you can make some image for an animation film, you can also make illustration, as Alexeïeff did also. So this is an example of the work of Nicolas Ligori, who's also a great animator and film director, as right now is with Regina Pessoa in Portugal to work on a film right now. And we just had one missing girl, a film director, who couldn't come right after the workshop, is Clémence Bouchereau, because she was in Spain for another film project. So she came this last summer to visit us, and she was in fact the last one of the 8. And so she spent a month in Bois d'Arcy between May and June, and you see her at work, and I'm going to show you a bit of animation. So after her residency in Bois d'Arcy, she follows the same road as Justine and also Nicolas Ligori, because she had the privilege to go also to Montreal to spend 1 month at Cinematheques Québécoises, and his mentor this year was Jacques Drouin. So it was a great experience for her, and she could develop more and more that you have seen. She came in Bois d'Arcy without any ID, and she was quite anxious, as all his friends friends, you know, with a pin screen because they don't know how to manage it. And she started very quickly, in fact. She found her characters, and animation wasn't so hard for her on the pin screen. So she has now a good start, good idea, and a good project. So voila. If you have any questions right now, you can, of course. I think we have a little bit time, not too much. And but don't hesitate to write us for the exhibition or archives or films also. We spoke about Gaspar color film process yesterday, just to show you, just without the sound, what we've done in complement of the exhibition, the restoration of a Gaspar color film process. See, this is the first advert made in France in 1935, and had been made by Alexeïeff and Claire Parker for wine production, you know. And this work have been presented as international art and technique, you know, in Paris in 1937, you know. And we have another example here. If you have questions.
Show more things, because it's really interesting, and it's not pin screen.
No, it's not interesting.
No? Oh, come on.
Yeah, no, of course.
De l'or. Puis l'or, reine des huiles de la croix
Verte.
But GB, just to make things clear, this is not pin screen. This is
No. It's a part of a commercial part in a way, and artistic part also, from Alexeïeff and Claire Parker work in what they did in the 30s, of course, because adverts and commercials, you know, brings them money, and to finance to help them after to make films on the pin screen. I can show you very quickly just an excerpt of A Night of the Bald Mountain done on the pin screen, on the first pin screen, and these are actually the first film made on the pin screen, and we restore it with the help of the BFI. The original negatives are lost, but we get from Alexeïeff an original nitrate print, very close to the negative, and we complete our print with material from the BFI. So now we have the complete film, because all the versions that you have seen, you could see on the net, are not the right ones, and it was a quite big puzzle to rebuild, you know. Sorry.
But we will not screen it completely because this is not a way to do it. So
No.
But okay, let's set something straight. You were saying the exhibition is available. There are films restored, digitalized, or even on film prints are available with you as well.
Some, yeah, we are working on it because the best way to preserve a film is just to shoot it on 35 millimeters. So we've done all this work of digitalization. We have our own lab in Bois-d'Arcy for photochemic parts and numeric parts, you know, and so we've done all this film restoration work at CNC.
So you were saying for the exhibition, actually, the most important part is that there would be enough space, no? Because it
Yeah,
should
but
be
it's
set.
more, you know, in Annecy it was 800 square meters, but we can be more smaller, you know, it's not, but we would like prefer to work with a museum, or if the cinematheque has enough room and a good condition for conservation, you know.
Yeah.
Preservation is better.
Okay. From my side, Slovenian Cinematheque 2022-23, I would really like to have it. But and for the other, there are program directors here as well. The financial question is something that is dealt with you. I mean, it costs a lot.
About the exhibition or about the film?
Exhibition and the films. Because I think that it's important to show the films in the cinema
of
as
course.
well.
For the exhibition is a question of insurance. It's usually, it depends, but for Annecy, I think it was over 100,000 euros of insurance, you know. But for the access, the main access, in fact, I can't say that CNC is not interesting by money. But in a way, yes, it's not. That we want to do is to make available as much as possible in good conditions this exhibition. So if
Should be individually.
no, but there is no real budget for that except or flight ticket or hotel, you know, because that's it for just for the organization of the. But there is no access, particular no loan price.
And just for everybody to understand, 100,000 euro insurance fee means, if I'm not wrong, something like 1%, or it's 10% of
10%,
the 10%.
yeah.
10,000. Still, it's not an easy amount for a small festival. But and when you were saying museums,
no,
like
it's more for museums, you know, for this kind of exhibitions.
I know, yeah.
For the films, it depends. In fact, because A Night in the Bowl Mountain is owned by Alexeïeff family, Alexandre Alexeïeff. But the adverts belongs usually to the trademarks, and trademarks are still exist. But we have a quite good relation with them, and they're quite surprised that we have an interest in their film, you know, because for them it's just a promotional film for right now. It's not. There is no historical interest for them, except for some of them. But usually it's like that. So we don't ask money too for this film, except if some writers want to ask them. We try always to arrange as much as possible the access of the film, to make them very easy and to be shown to people. Before
you showed us the catalog of the exhibition at Annecy, there is a DVD together with the catalog.
Yeah, we
well?
put a little a DVD inside with some adverts, as the one for the oil and other adverts, unseen adverts, to complete the first Alexeïeff DVD done by Cinedoc a few years ago. It was in 2005, I think. And with A Night of Old Mountain, The Nose.
The Nose is on.
The Nose, yeah. And et cetera, et cetera. So we didn't want to make bad concurrence, you know, to this DVD. So we put We put unseen Gaspar color adverts. We've put the time lapse that you've seen before, you know, during the en passant shooting and other stuff like this, and an interview I've made that I've made with Jacques in 2008 around the restoration of the pin screen, etc., etc.
Now that you mentioned Jacques Drouin, a very important author that also is now retired, if I working with the NFB, physically his resemblance to Alexeïeff at the end, it's really astonishing, I think. So maybe every people that starts to work with the pin screen will change physiognomy.
I don't know.
As well, it seems. Anybody has a question? If not, Jean-Baptiste, thank you very much again for your effort, for your work. It's programmers just approach him. It's really important to show films from the vaults. One more thing maybe just to mention, like national heritage, no? Before you patrimoine d'État. You tried, or now I may be wrong, like you put something on a national heritage at UNESCO, through UNESCO.
But it was it's nothing in common with
pin screen.
Pin screen, but it's 3 years ago, in fact, 2 years ago, I don't remember. In fact, Émile Reynaud's family wanted to make a registration at the UNESCO, so CNC's done all the administration part, argumentation. So since 2015 or 2016, now you know the spectacle des pantomimes lumineuses that
the praxinoscope.
No, it's an optical theater made, you know, and all the projection made by Émile Reynaud, the screenings made by Émile Reynaud at Musée Grévin from, as everybody knows, 1892 until 1900. Now is protected in a way in a heritage of memory heritage of UNESCO. And we do preserve the original print in Wadarsi also. So it's a little bit of stone corner, you know, for everyone because of the date of October 28th.
Yeah, International Animation Day. This is really important what you did with Reynaud, but even more important that you brought the pin screen back to life, and artists like young artists like Justine, like the others we saw, they are able to do maybe a new style, a new approach.
Definitely, each of them, you know, it's very different and different atmosphere, different style, of course. So it's and we are very happy because we can. When we bought the pin screen, we decided we can't make some production on CNC because it's, in a way, it's forbidden for us. But the best way to encourage it is to loan the pin screen to production when there is a production, of course. And we create also a fly case to put the pin screen in fly case, and we build a large table, you know, a single piece table of 90 kilos, you know, when you can rotate, etc., etc. But we can put this on fly case and make it travel in France, exclusively in France. But we went to Sacre Bleu studio with it for Céline. We put it after at Cyclic Animation, someday maybe in Valence or in Lille or I don't know, whatever. The most important is to locate the pin screen and the table and all the tools in at the production area. And for us, not to be so far if there is a problem with the pin screen, even if now if each filmmaker are trained and they know how to use it, even to change some parts of it if it's necessary.
Okay, thank you very much. We close it. Let's catch some sun before the evening screenings, and thank you for your patience. Thank you for your knowledge, Jean-Baptiste.